So the next three things I want to talk about are getting into Varadero, the Cuban people, and bringing in items for the locals. Now, last year, when you go into Varadero, you had a couple options. First is taxi or an old car taxi. I came back in a 1923 Ford Chevy. Really cool. I also split the amount of money for it with somebody else, and it only cost $20 Canadian one way. Cheap. $10 each. Now, the other way, which is the most cheapest way, is a public bus, which hits most resorts along the main strip. Now, the bus stop, you have a couple spots that you can go. One is on the front of the resort by the main street to the far right of the security gate, about 75 to 100 feet on the right is a bus stop. You can stop there and wait, or I found that out last year. Or this year, I also found out that if you stand on the left side of the gate on the road, or next to the road, the bus comes, you can run across the street about 25, 30, well, not even 30 feet away from there, is where you can get picked up. If the bus is coming the other way, you can catch it right on that corner, on the left side of the security booth.
Spot there, Valentin, El Patriarca Varadero, 5-star. Now, before I show you the other sign, typically there's a bus shelter stop right way down there. Like, it's kind of hard to see. Of course, I can't tell very well, but it's like way up there. It's probably about over 100 yards roughly to the bus shelter stop. Typically, you can stop there if there's nobody here, but on the left here, when you're coming up to the roadway, they do stop there sometimes, and on the way back you can get picked up or stop there and jump off and come in when you're coming back from Varadero. But this is where you can get the bus. 2 times I've already gone into Varadero, and they stop right where that little section there is, basically where that pole is, but across the street. They'll stop there, you can jump on, because it really doesn't matter all that much, because either way you'll be waiting for that bus to come back when it hits all the hotels and such. So it does always come back here eventually.
Now, this year you had basically the same choices for those. So not much of a difference, other than me finding out that you can now stay on the left side on the corner. That's the only thing that I found different this year. Now, that said, one thing that I've noticed different in terms of how much it costs. Now, not how much it costs. Let me rephrase that. Before 10:30 in the morning, I took the bus twice. One day, then a week later, another day. I was told that I had to use credit card. And I'm like, okay, what's up with that? Why am I using a credit card only? I did have cash on me to make sure, because that's what I assume. With that little bit of change, I attempted to use my credit card 3 times, which after 3 times it did work. I tap at home, and there they don't have tap because it's Cuba, and unfortunately tap doesn't work there. So I had to do it 3 times. It did work. I put in a couple different numbers for my PIN because I couldn't remember my PIN due to tap. And it worked. So I don't know which of the 2 PIN numbers that I used worked. So the second time around, I did the same thing with my credit card. It locked me out after 3 tries. And so I had to call my credit card company and tell them what was going on. They fixed it for me after like a while. Not too long, but a while. Now, I was talking to the guy that was on the bus. I knew who he was because I've seen him before last year. Because I saw him actually when I was there in 2023, January. So I saw him 3 times at this point. He tells me that the companies want people to use this machine, this debit machine, my credit machine. And due to the fact that internet is spotty there, and to use these machines, it didn't always work. C'est la vie, right? No. To me, that's unacceptable, even for Cuba. I know I can't do anything about it, but I told them the second time around, I'm like, look, if these companies are making people this second time around that I come here, whereas last year they accepted cash only that I knew of, I mean, I think they use credit card as well, but you can use cash. If they're going to force people to use credit cards, knowing the fact that the internet connection is crappy, spotty at best, they need to make sure they have an option. Either make it work, allow it to work, or only have cash, not credit card. Otherwise, it's just like people that want to come and get screwed around, even with this, there's enough trouble in the world to require to come to this country, a beautiful country, and then get screwed up, not because of the people, but because of the credit card companies. So I told them that. So it's one of those things that suck that way. You know what I mean? It's just like, what I ended up doing later, I found out on the way back from the resort that people were paying cash on a different bus. Oh, that really irked me, because some buses were allowing cash only. This bus that I took every time, no. Anyway, so I did pay cash on the 3rd time, but I left at around noon, and they took cash on this bus. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, that did annoy me a lot, seeing that, though, that it happened after I paid by credit card. Oh man, that was annoying. Anyway, so now the Cuban people are the nicest, warmest, and the most humblest people that I've actually realized and met, that when I met them. The women are beautiful. And unfortunately, this brings me to my last point of this section. The Cuban people, unfortunately, don't always have, or don't actually have, the basic access to the basic necessities of life, such as clothing, toiletries, medicines of basic variety, such as Tylenol, first aid supplies, and not even candies. Crazy, right? Wow. Like even sometimes food they don't have access to. Basic foods. I mean, some do, but it's very, very hard for them that way. Now, when I go to Cuba, after the first time, I decided I was going to bring candies to them and other items as well for dental hygiene and such. And I met some people also that brought clothing and gave away some clothing to some of the locals and things like that. I noticed that people were giving away stuff like that too. So that's why this year I decided to bring candies and other health hygiene products for your oral hygiene, like toothbrush and toothpaste. So I brought the candies, toothbrush, and toothpaste. I know it's repetitive here, I'm saying, but I'm trying to now make a point. Anyway, so when I had some items with me and I talked to Jolie while I was chatting with her, she noticed that I had this bag with candies in it, and her eyes lit up like Christmas. It was Christmas. She said to me, "Oh, is that candies?" And I said, "Why, would you like some?" And she just said, like, she didn't say anything at first, but then she's like, "Sure." And I gave her those candy bags, and her eyes lit up, and she was so grateful. She was so happy. So she gladly accepted, as if it was Christmas time for her. Took it like awesome. So anyway, so last year, I didn't bring candies because I didn't know. And then in January, when I was at a different resort, I brought some. And then this year, I brought, a lot more. But I still ran out pretty quick. So that said, when I come back again, I'm going to bring even more than last year. Or this year, that is. So, awesome, right? So, bring candies, bring hygiene products, bring clothing if you want. If you have extra clothing that you don't use anymore, the locals will gladly accept it, and they'll be so happy. Like I said, Jolie, when she saw that candy and then she got it, she was so excited, like very happy. Good thing to do for them. Awesome, right?